All right, let's talk about the part most creative people avoid. Structure. Most creatives hear the word structure and they tense up because they think structure means boring rules, spreadsheets, corporate process, losing freedom, killing creativity, and a bunch of other things. So they avoid it. And then they wonder why their work keeps falling apart. Here's the truth. Structure doesn't kill imagination. It protects it. Structure is not the enemy of creativity. Structure is what lets creativity survive real life. If intent is why it exists, and story is what it means, structure is how it holds together. Most creative projects don't die in a big, dramatic way. They fade out. You start, you feel excited, you work hard for a few days, and then life happens. You get busy, you miss a week, you come back and you feel behind. You start changing things. You redesign, you rethink, you restart, and slowly the whole thing disappears. People call that burnout. A lot of the time it's not burnout. It's a system that depends on mood. And mood is unstable. Life is unstable. So your progress becomes unstable. Structure fixes that. Let's keep this simple. Structure is not spreadsheets. Structure is not corporate meetings. And structure is not you becoming a robot. Structure is just this: format, length, cadence, scope, constraints, rules for what happens next, and a definition of done. That's structure. It's support beams. Imagination is the house. If you build a house with no support beams, it might look fine for a moment, but the first time there's pressure, it collapses. That's what happens to most creators. Their imagination is real, their talent is real, but their work is fragile because it has no support. Structure forces you to choose. Structure forces you to commit. It makes you say, this is the format, this is the length, this is the schedule, these are the topics. This is what I will not do, and this is what I will do every week. And that can feel scary because it feels like you're closing doors. But here's what's worse than closing doors: keeping every door open and never walking through any of them. That's what no structure looks like. A life full of options and no momentum. Now we're going to talk about the real problem. And this is the hidden killer. It's not laziness, not a lack of discipline, but decision fatigue. When structure is missing, you have to decide everything every time. And that drains you. Think about how many decisions you make when you go to create. What am I making today? Is it a video or a post? What's the topic? What's the angle? How long should it be? What platform should it go on? What's the title? What's the thumbnail? Should I post this now or later? Is this even good enough? And do I need to refilm? Do I need to rewrite? That's exhausting. And most people don't fail because they can't work. They fail because they get tired of choosing. Structure removes choices. Less choices means more output. More output means more proof, and more proof means more confidence. And that creates momentum. Structure answers one question. What is the container? A container is the repeatable format your work lives in. The container is stable. Creativity happens inside the container. Here are some examples of containers. A weekly 10-minute YouTube episode. A weekly blog post between 800 and 1200 words. 3 short posts per week with 1 idea each. A monthly case study. A 90-minute phone call with 5 deliverables. Notice what all of these have. They have clear instructions. Clear instructions make work easier because you know what you're making. Constraints don't reduce creativity. They focus it. This is the part that can feel backwards, but it's true. Constraints help creativity because constraints give your brain something to push against. When everything is possible, you freeze. When the rules are clear, you move. That's why movies have runtimes. That's why songs have structure. That's why comedy has timing. Constraints are not a cage. They are a frame, and the frame keeps the painting from falling apart. If you want structure, you need to make 5 decisions. These 5 decisions make your work repeatable. They remove chaos, they remove guessing, and they protect your energy. Let's go through them. Number 1 is format. What is the thing you make? Is it a video, a blog, podcast, email? Pick one primary format. Not forever, first one. Because one primary format creates momentum. When you try to do everything, you end up doing nothing consistently. 2 is length. How long is it? 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 800 words, 1,000 words. Length matters because it changes everything. It changes how you write, how you film, how you edit, how you publish, and how sustainable the whole thing ends up being. If your length is undefined, you will overwork. You will keep expanding, and then you will dread creating. So decide the length. Number 3 is cadence. How often does it ship? Daily, weekly, twice a month? Here's my honest take. Weekly beats daily because weekly is sustainable. If you can ship once a week for 6 months, you win. If you ship daily for 2 weeks and quit, you lose. Consistency is the real flex, and weekly is consistent for most real adults. Number 4 is scope. What topics are allowed? This is where creators leak time because they talk about everything they're interested in and the audience gets confused and the work loses focus. Scope is a fence. A fence is not a prison. A fence is protection. A small fence creates a strong garden. So decide your scope. What's in and what's out? Number 5, we have definition of done. And this is huge. Most people never finish because they don't know what finish looks like. They keep tweaking, they keep polishing, they keep overthinking. Done has to be a checklist, not a feeling. Here's a simple definition of done for a video, for example. The title's chosen, the thumbnail is chosen, the description's been written, the upload is finished, the video's been published or scheduled, it's been shared, and an email has been sent. Done means shipped. Not perfect, shipped. A hobby is mood-based. A business is system-based. A hobby asks, what do I feel like making today? A business asks, what does the system require this week? That question changes everything because it makes output predictable. And if output is predictable, revenue can become predictable. Not instantly, but over time, because now you can improve something real. Let's be honest. A lot of people don't avoid structure because they can't do it. They avoid structure because it forces them to pick a path. And picking a path means you can fail visibly. It means people can see what you're building. It means you can't hide behind potential. Potential is safe. Potential lets you feel like you could do it. Structure is what turns could into did. And that's scary. But that's also the only way to win. Let me give you something you can steal. This is a simple weekly structure for building a platform. It's called the Weekly Core Output System. One long piece per week, 2 short posts pulled from it, 1 email that points back to it, and 1 call to action that stays the same. That's it. It sounds almost too simple, but that's the point. It's repeatable, and repeatable is the game because repeatable output compounds, and compounding output becomes authority, and authority makes selling easier. You can pause the video if you'd like in order to answer these questions. Don't make it perfect, just make it real. Number 1, my format is, and then you fill that in. Is it a video, a blog, podcast, an email? Number 2, my length is it 10 minutes, 12 minutes, 800 words? Number 3, my cadence is, and is it once per week, twice per month? Number 4, my scope is, and then you fill in the topics you'll cover and the topics you will not. Number 5, done means, and this is where you place the checklist that ends the work. Then commit to that structure for 30 days. Not forever, 30 days. Structure does not need to be perfect. It just needs to exist. Here's the main point again. Your imagination is powerful. But imagination without structure is fragile because life will always apply pressure. Pressure reveals weak structure. That's why ideas don't fail because they're bad. They fail because they aren't supported. Structure is support. Structure protects imagination. So what's next? Now that you have intent, story, and structure, next is system. System is where structure becomes repeatable. System is where you stop restarting. System is what makes progress predictable. So in the next video, we're going to talk about system. The loop that makes it repeat. The loop that makes it real. The loop that makes it survive. Feel free to comment with your structure down below, and if you're interested in learning more about story systems, make sure to subscribe and check out the description for more information.